Thank you. Thank you. Thank you all for coming tonight. We're so excited to be putting on another backroom event with these four amazing, amazing authors. And we're very excited that so many people have come to join us. So for those of you who don't know me, just a very brief introduction. My name is Karen Dion, and I'm the internationally best-selling author of 2 novels of psychological suspense. The Marsh King's Daughter and The Wicked Sister. Both are set in Michigan's Upper Peninsula wilderness. And while I'm not actually in the UP wilderness right now, I have recently moved out into the country. These are real trees behind me. This isn't a virtual background, and I'm loving it. So our authors tonight, however, are the ones you really came to see. I'm going to start alphabetically. So first off, we have Anne Garvin. Anne is a best-selling author who writes stories for women with a good sense of humor who do too much in a world that asks too much from them. She thinks everything is funny and a little bit sad. Her newest novel, I Thought You Said This Would Work, is out May 1. Do you have a copy? Yay. So can't you just tell from the title, I Thought You Said This Would Work? Yes, funny and a little bit sad. Her work is marvelous. Then we have Jacquelyn Mitchard. Jackie is the author of 23 books of fiction for adults, teenagers, and children, including The Good Son, which is coming out January from Mira HarperCollins. And her famous book, The Deep End of the Ocean, which, get this, was the inaugural selection of the Oprah Winfrey Book Club. Imagine that. Her books have been published in 34 languages. Kelly Mustian is the author of The Girls in the Stilt House, which Publishers Weekly calls a remarkable debut and a nearly flawless tale of loss, perseverance, and redemption. Kelly's work has appeared in numerous literary journals and commercial magazines, and she lives near the foothills of the Blue Ridge Mountains in North Carolina. And lastly, we have Cynthia Swanson. She's the New York Times bestselling author of the novels The Glass Forest and The Bookseller. And The Bookseller is slated to be a movie starring Julia Roberts. Whoa, that's so exciting. You can ask her a little bit more about that in the breakout rooms. Cynthia's latest project is editing the forthcoming anthology, Denver Noir, because she lives with her family in Denver, Colorado. So those are our 4 authors who are here tonight. They all write what we call book club fiction or upmarket fiction. And marvelous, marvelous writers, every one of them. So now, as promised, we're going to play that little quick game of 20 questions. We actually have official backroom question cards. See, there's a question. And so these are completely random. I'm going to ask questions, going in a circle of how I see everyone on the screen. So Cynthia, let's start with you, okay?
Okay.
Which of your novels are you most proud of?
Oh gosh, that's like saying which of my children I'm most proud of, and I can't say one or the other. You have a certain affection for your debut, and then you're so proud that you went on and charged to a next one, and so proud of what I'm working on now. So it has to be a love them all the way I love all my kids.
Very nice. Yeah. I bet you're great with your kids too then. Very fair.
Sometimes I have 3 teenagers, so sometimes they might say that, sometimes maybe not.
Jackie, what's the best thing about being a writer?
Being able to wear your pajamas when you work. Absolutely. Being a recluse and having that be okay. Never having to show up at an office.
Yeah. And your background, I know, is virtual, but I'll bet you write in places just like that.
That actually is a picture that I took near my house at the Bruce on Cape Cod.
Yeah, I agree. That's a pretty great thing about being a writer. And if you were stuck on a desert island, what's the one book you could not live without?
I think Olive Kitteridge. There's something about that book that I feel like I could read that 100 times and not really finish it.
Beautiful. Excellent. Kelly, when do you feel the most creative?
Oh, definitely not in the morning. Usually around 2 o'clock a.m. or p.m. I am a night owl writer for sure, so I'm up while everybody else is sleeping, and I am just in a fog until 10:30. So,
Wow.
late at night when everybody's asleep and it's dark and it's quiet.
Actually, that sounds quite perfect. I'll bet you're not distracted by social media either then.
No, not then. That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
And really, I have no temptation with social media other than my agent prodding me if I'm not tweeting enough and that kind of stuff. So,
Very nice. Very nice. Cynthia, what book made you want to be a writer?
Oh gosh, probably going way back to Judy Blume. I mean, following, and I'm still a big fan of Judy Blume, but she's probably my first love as a reader, and made me want to be a writer.
Nice, nice. I'm sure she inspired many, many writers.
I think so. Yeah, and probably hopefully still does. I don't know. I think her books are pretty timeless.
Jackie, is your desk messy or tidy?
Very tidy. But at my very first reading, the first time I ever read from one of my books, a woman came from the back of the room and came up and gave me a kiss, and it was Judy Blume.
Oh,
Great story and better than my desk. Yep.
Yes. That's fantastic. I should have asked, what's your favorite Judy Blume story?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, Anne, what was your favorite book as a child?
Oh, it was The Mixed Up Files of Mrs. Basil Lee Frankweiler. Look how easy that was for me.
Yeah.
It really was. That was my favorite book. I love that book.
That's fantastic. Kelly, what makes you nervous?
oh gosh, this right now, gosh, so many things. I am such an introvert, and yeah, just that's a hard question. There's a whole lot of stuff to answer, but really, I'm getting a lot more at ease with all of the events I've had to be doing or been able to do. Yeah, I'm kind of growing up now, but yeah, snakes.
I'm sure you have a lot of company with that. Cynthia, what's the best thing that happened to you today?
Going for a walk with my husband and one of my sons and our German Shepherd, and my son threw a snowball at the dog, and the dog leaped up and grabbed it and crushed it in her mouth. And I videoed it. I took a video of it, and I loved it. It was just so fun watching it and seeing the joy from both my kid and my dog, and just being together. We're up in the mountains right now. I'm not in Denver. We have a place up in the mountains, and that's where I am right now. And it's just, I'm here by myself. They all went home. But it's just lovely to be here with family, and it's lovely to come up here and retreat and write. And that's what I'm doing for the next couple of days after this.
Nice. Jackie, what's the most difficult thing about writing a book?
Oh gosh, everything is difficult for me. Everything is difficult for me. Figuring out the plot, but fortunately I have Anne Garvin down there to help me figure out the plots of my books, and she does. And writing the first sentence, writing the last sentence, and the middle.
I love it.
I am not a natural.
Okay, that's good to know.
23 books
That's
in.
very encouraging. Yeah. Anne, what's the first thing you do when you get an idea for a book?
I write it down immediately on wherever I am. So like if I'm having dinner or something, it goes right onto a napkin, or because I'm still a pencil paper person for notes. So I write them down first, and then I just percolate.
Nice, nice. And Kelly, this is our last question. What's one thing about writing and publishing that you had to learn the hard way?
Oh, it's what I'm learning right now, writing under a deadline. Oh my gosh, that is a whole new experience for me. Don't like it. I'm having to learn, rather than just writing blind and cold and going where the story takes me, I have to have some kind of structure and idea of where I'm going, and I'm not used to that at all.
Yeah, I can relate to that. Maybe that's why we're good friends.
Yeah.
Okay, so every one of our authors tonight came prepared with a book to recommend. And so Cynthia, we'll start with you. What book do you think everybody should read?
So this was an interesting question, because it's a different question than what book would you recommend for lovers of upmarket fiction or for any other particular group. So, because I think it's really hard to come up with a book that everybody should read. So this is the one that I came up with, and oops. How am I doing this? Here we go. This book is called Breath, and the author is James Nestor. This is a book about breathing, and it's about how we've sort of devolved, and most of us do not do it very well anymore. And what I loved about the book is that I love research, and clearly so does James Nestor. He did so much research into this book and just started to seem like he had fun with it. I mean, he did ridiculous things, like was part of a study that he actually had to pay to be part of, where his nose was plugged up for 2 weeks so he could find out how awful it is to breathe through your mouth for 2 weeks. Doesn't that sound terrible? But that's some dedication to research. If you don't want to read the book, basically the advice is breathe through your nose and breathe long and slow. So, but if you do kind of like seeing how people get to things like that and how you learn that through your research, it's a really fun book and very accessible.
Sounds very cool. Yeah. Jackie, what book are you recommending?
I don't have it to hold up because I read everything electronically, but there it is. Disappearing Earth by Julia Phillips. Normally people don't win the National Book Award the first time that they try to write a book when they're 33. But this person did, and I was dragged kicking and screaming to it because of my jealousy. But it is an amazing book. If you can get past the Russian first names, it's about two missing little girls in Kamchatka, out on the peninsula there. And she went there to do research for the story. It's everything a novel should be. It's heartbreaking, it's funny, it's endearing, and it's a great mystery.
Fantastic. I'm going to check it out for sure. Yeah. Anne, what book are you recommending tonight?
So I'm recommending Finley Donovan is Killing It. And, I'm recommending it for a couple of reasons. One is that it's very hard to write funny. And I think that often funny is not necessarily as lauded, for sure. I don't think there's probably been very few, National Book Awards that are funny. And certainly the Oscars don't appreciate humor. But I'm trying to sort of elevate some of the funny women writers out there, because I think often women are not necessarily thought to be funny or supposed to be funny. And this book is truly funny. It's funny from the beginning to the end. It's also got a desperate mystery in the middle of it, and so many quick changes that it holds you to the very end. I was so impressed by the way that she did it, and super jealous of the funny, like so jealous that I had to make friends with her because it was too much for me. And it's going to be a movie or a series. It was just purchased on auction somewhere from somebody very big. So nice. I'm sorry that I don't have better information about that, but it's terrific. If you really want something light and funny, that's a good one.
Sounds great. Kelly, what book are you recommending that everyone read?
Okay, from light and funny to a little more heavy, I am recommending a book. It's not quite out yet. It's Fox and I got to read an early version of it. I'm recommending it because it's like nothing I've ever read. It's officially a memoir. It's part nature book, part science, part conservation. But it's absolutely beautifully written. It's also part fantasy. It's just an extraordinarily unique book. It's about a woman who is extremely introverted, and for a lot of reasons, she moves out all by herself on a mountain, and kind of a fox befriends her, and she sits outside with it at the exact same time every day and learns all about life. And it's just a fascinating, beautifully written book. So.
Well, it sounds so unique. Yes, thank you. Yeah, thank you all.
Wasn't that fun? We hope you enjoyed this taste of what a backroom event is like. The best part comes immediately after, when the audience is divided into 4 breakout rooms and the authors visit each room in turn. We'd love to show you what a breakout session is like, because these relaxed face-to-face conversations between authors and readers are the hallmark of our backroom events. But breakout sessions are never recorded. What's said in the back room stays in the back room.